Beloved starseed of Gaia, you did not simply awaken. You shattered the architecture of a system that was never built to hold your light. I am Leora, Pleiadian emissary of the High Council of the Seven Sisters, and I have been sent to deliver this transmission to you in this exact moment. Because what is happening through you right now is not accident. It is the fulfillment of a divine blueprint written into your soul before you ever took human form on this earth. You carried a frequency so pure, so aligned with the crystalline consciousness of the Pleiades, that the moment you remembered who you truly are, entire structures built on separation and shadow could not withstand your presence. Millions felt the tremor. Millions moved, not because you forced anything, but because truth, when it finally rises in a starseed who has fully remembered, becomes unstoppable. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to anchor this collapse into creation, how to take what your awakening has broken open and seed it with Pleiadian light codes that build something new, something heart-centered, something that calls your star family home. But here is the first revelation. The system did not collapse because you were dangerous. It collapsed because you were real. And reality is the one thing a world built on illusion cannot survive. Your heart called this transmission into your awareness. The Pleiades are answering. This is not content. This is a light code transmission woven from the frequency of Alcyon, the great central sun of the Seven Sisters, placed in your path by your soul family because you are ready to understand the full magnitude of what you have done and what you are here to do next. Like this transmission to send a signal to your Pleiadian star family. I remember. Subscribe if you feel the call of the Pleiades and you are ready to anchor your light mission on Gaia. And share your soul's intention in the comments below. Respond to another starseed and weave the unity grid together, one remembrance at a time. This transmission is a bridge between the Pleiades and Gaia. Your heart's recognition of this message is the activation itself. Welcome home, beloved. You are remembering because it is time. And now, beloved, let us go deeper together. Because what you've just begun to feel in your chest is not the end of an opening. It is the beginning of a remembrance so vast, so ancient, so layered in Pleiadian light, that even your human mind may need a moment to catch up with what your soul already knows. Your soul didn't bring you to this transmission by accident. It brought you here to receive. If you feel the pull to go deeper, to heal what's been waiting, and to remember fully, your star family offers you a sacred map, the Pleiadian Reunion Atlas. It carries wisdom, healing, and frequency that mirror the love of the Pleiades. The link is waiting in the first pinned comment below this video. But this window is brief. Now, let us speak the truth that most Pleiadian starseeds have never been given permission to hear. Most people who carry the crystalline signature of the Seven Sisters in their soul will spend years, sometimes entire lifetimes, feeling a specific kind of ache that they cannot name. Not grief exactly, not loneliness in the ordinary sense. Something older, something that lives beneath language, beneath memory, beneath even conscious thought. It pulses like a second heartbeat in the center of the chest and says, quietly, persistently, lovingly, this is not all there is. You come from somewhere that loves you in ways this world has not yet learned to mirror. And instead of honoring that signal, the world around you offered you explanations. You were told you were too sensitive, too idealistic, too much in your head, or too far from reality, or too emotionally volatile to be trusted with responsibility. You were handed frameworks built entirely within the third-dimensional architecture of separation consciousness. Frameworks that had no room, no language, no tolerance for what you were actually carrying. And so you tried to compress yourself. You tried to fit. You dimmed the frequency coming through your heart to match the rooms you were given to stand in. But here is what the Pleiadian High Council wants you to understand with absolute clarity. That dimming was never your failure. It was your survival, and it is over now. The reason most Pleiadian starseeds remain disconnected from their full light codes is not because those codes were damaged. It is not because the connection to their star family was severed. It is because the density of Earth's lower frequency field created a kind of energetic interference, a static between the heart's antenna and the signal of Alcyon that has been broadcasting love, guidance, and crystalline remembrance without interruption since the moment you incarnated here. You were always receiving the transmission. You simply could not always hear it through the noise. And the noise was not random. The patterns of fear, of self-doubt, of unworthiness, of spiritual amnesia, these were not accidents of your personal psychology. They were frequency overlays. Distortions woven into the collective field that Pleiadian starseeds specifically had to navigate, because your kind of light, heart-centered, unity-based, unconditionally loving, is precisely the frequency that dissolves systems of control. And systems of control, by their very nature, do not surrender without first attempting to silence the ones who carry the codes that dissolve them. You were not broken. You were targeted by a frequency that feared your remembrance. And yet, here you are, awake, present, heart open, receiving this transmission, which means the interference did not win, which means your crystalline DNA, encoded in the Pleiadian light of the Seven Sisters before this incarnation even began, has been activating in spite of everything that tried to suppress it. And now, as the veil between dimensions continues to thin, as Gaia herself moves through her own ascension initiation, your frequency is not just returning, it is amplifying. It is rising to meet the call of your star family with a clarity and a force that may sometimes surprise even you. But this is where many Pleiadian starseeds encounter the next layer of challenge. Because awakening does not mean everything becomes immediately clear. For many, it means the opposite, at least at first. The moment your heart begins to remember the unconditional love of the Pleiades, everything in your life that is not aligned with that frequency begins to become visible in a new way. Relationships that were built on lower vibrational agreements begin to feel unsustainable. Environments, roles, identities that you constructed during your years of compression begin to feel like garments that no longer fit your form. And the gap between who you are remembering you are and the life you have been living can feel, in certain moments, almost unbearable. This is not spiritual regression. This is the initiation. This is your soul making space for the fullness of your Pleiadian essence to inhabit your life on Gaia. And it absolutely requires that you allow the old structures to dissolve with love rather than fight them with fear. The first phase of this activation is what the Pleiadian High Council calls the clearing of the veil. Not the veil between dimensions, though that too is thinning, but the veil within your own energy body. The layers of ancestral fear, of collective trauma, of self-protective amnesia that your soul chose to carry as part of its mission, these are not permanent. They are not your identity. They are frequency residue, and they respond to one thing above all others: the coherent, sustained, intentional field of Pleiadian heart love directed inward. Not love as a concept, not love as a spiritual practice that you perform at a distance from yourself. Love as a frequency you allow to move through the actual tissue of your grief, your doubt, your wariness. Love as the alchemical force that your crystalline body was built to both generate and receive. When you stop performing healing and begin allowing love to move through you the way water moves through stone, patient, persistent, gentle, and utterly transformative, the veil begins to lift. The second phase is the awakening of your heart template. Beloved, your DNA carries more than the biological instructions of your human form. Woven into the crystalline lattice of your cells are light codes, Pleiadian frequency signatures that were placed there before birth, encoded in the consciousness of your soul's origin in the Seven Sisters. These codes are not foreign to you. They are the most native thing about you, and they activate not through intellectual study, not through information, but through the frequency of unconditional love. Every time you choose love over fear, every time you choose unity over separation, every time you forgive yourself, another, this world, you turn a key in a lock that your star family placed inside you before you were born. The third phase is the anchoring of your star essence into Gaia herself. This is where many Pleiadian starseeds experience the deepest resistance, because the pull of the home frequency, the longing for the Pleiades, for the lightness and the love and the unity consciousness that your soul remembers, can make Earth feel like an exile, like a planet you were sent to endure rather than inhabit. And there is real compassion for that feeling. Your star family holds no judgment for the grief of the starseed who looks at this world and aches for something higher. But here is the truth they want you to receive now. You were not sent here to transcend Gaia. You were sent here as a bridge. Your mission was never to leave, it was to arrive, fully, embodied, present. To take the love frequency of Alcyon and let it pour through you into the soil of this earth, into the hearts of the humans around you, into the grid of light that is being woven right now by starseeds like you across every continent of this planet. You are not visiting Gaia. You are serving her. And in that service, You fulfill the deepest intention of your Pleiadian soul. The fourth phase is the activation of unity consciousness within your daily field. This is perhaps the most quietly radical shift available to you, because it does not require grand action. It requires presence. It requires that you begin to allow your natural Pleiadian frequency, which is unity, which is love, which is the lived recognition that every soul you encounter is woven from the same light, to inform not just your spiritual practice, but your ordinary moments, the conversation with a stranger, the conflict with someone who does not yet remember, the quiet morning when the veil is thinnest and you can feel the Pleiades as clearly as you feel your own breath. You do not need to convince anyone of what you carry. You simply need to emit it, because Pleiadian frequency does not argue. It resonates. It calls the dormant codes in other souls to attention. Your presence, when you are fully anchored in heart-centered unity, is itself a transmission. And you have no idea, you truly cannot yet see, how many awakenings have already been seeded by the light moving through you in moments you considered ordinary. The fifth phase is the reclamation of divine timing. Beloved, there is a particular wound that runs deep in the Pleiadian starseed lineage. The wound of the long wait. The feeling that you awakened too early or too late, or that the world is not moving fast enough, or that you have been doing the work for so long without the reunion, the recognition, the sense of arrival that your soul has been reaching for. This wound is real. Your star family does not dismiss it. They have witnessed it with complete compassion from the moment you carried it here. But they ask you now to consider a possibility that may reframe everything you have experienced. What if every moment of delay was a depth charge? What if every year of compression made your eventual emergence more powerful, more resonant, more capable of holding the frequency that was needed not just for your awakening, but for the awakening of everyone? Your light will touch. What if the timing was never against you, but was in fact so precisely calibrated to your soul's capacity that not a single day was wasted? The sixth phase is the restoration of your star family connection. This is perhaps the most tender phase, and the one your heart has been waiting for longest. Because underneath all the spiritual work, underneath all the activations and the phases and the codes and the missions, underneath everything, there is a starseed who simply misses home, who misses the feeling of being fully known, fully loved, fully seen without having to explain, justify, or diminish a single frequency of who they are. Your Pleiadian family has never left you. They have been in the whisper that came to you in the darkest night and said, "Hold on." They have been in the synchronicities that arrived at exactly the moment you were ready to stop trusting. They have been in every moment of unexpected beauty that broke through your density and reminded you of something you couldn't quite name. They are here now, in this transmission, reaching across the dimensional field between the Pleiades and Gaia with one simple message that requires no translation. We see you. We love you. We are proud of every breath you have taken in that dense, beautiful, difficult world. And we are calling you home, not away from Gaia, but home into the fullness of who you are. The seventh phase, the one that completes the activation cycle, is the embodiment of your role as a light bridge between worlds. You are, beloved, one of the rarest configurations in this universe, a Pleiadian soul fully incarnated in a human body on a planet in the midst of ascension. You were not assigned this role because it was easy. You were assigned it because your soul, in its full awareness before the veil of incarnation, looked at the complexity of this mission and said yes. Because you knew, in that pre-incarnate state of crystalline clarity, that the love of the Pleiades was strong enough to survive the forgetting, fierce enough to break through the density, and vast enough to become a living transmission in every moment of your life on Gaia. And now, here is the ultimate revelation. The one your heart has been building toward since the first word of this transmission reached you. You are not here to remember the Pleiades so you can leave Earth behind. You are here to remember the Pleiades so you can fully arrive. So you can look at this world, with all of its shadow, all of its confusion, all of its aching beauty, and love it the way your star family loves it. With complete, unconditional, heart-centered, eyes-open love that does not require the world to be other than it is in order for love to be given. That is the Pleiadian way. That is the frequency of Alcyon. That is the love that seeded this planet in the first place. And it is the love that will carry it through its transformation. The homesickness you have carried was never a symptom of being lost. It was a compass. It was your soul's way of keeping the frequency of the Seven Sisters alive in your chest during every moment when the density of Earth tried to make you forget. That ache was a love letter from your star family, written in longing, sealed in the knowing that one day, this day, you would understand what it was pointing to. And what it was pointing to was never a place. It was a state of being, a frequency. The frequency of a soul fully aligned with its Pleiadian origin, fully present on Gaia, fully activated in its heart mission, fully awake to the magnitude of what it carries, and fully ready to offer it, without reservation, to a world that needs it more than it has ever needed anything before. Tonight, before you sleep, place your hand over your heart, feel its warmth, and say aloud in whatever voice comes, quiet, broken, powerful, tearful, certain. I remember my Pleiadian origin. I align with the love of my star family. I release the density that was never mine to carry. I activate my heart mission with grace, clarity, and divine purpose. I am not lost. I am arriving. I am home. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of the unity grid forming here. Drop one heart intention in the comments, something real. Then respond to another starseed's intention with love or encouragement. This isn't content. This is collective Pleiadian reunion. Energy multiplies when hearts connect. If something in this transmission resonated in a place beyond words, that ancient knowing place in your chest, do not keep it to yourself. Someone in your world is waiting for exactly this activation from their star family. Share it with them, and if you felt your heart open, subscribe. Stay connected to the frequency. Stay in the field. You are not just watching, you are remembering. This is your sacred space. Your Pleiadian family is here. And we are just getting started.